Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly video update for Wednesday, October the 24th. And if you have not seen it, very brutal day today. As you can see, straight down pretty much from the open. The S&P, we went down about 85 points, kind of from the open. But notice this was yesterday, the high yesterday, 27.53 to 26.51. So 100 points basically from yesterday's session to this session. And that's putting us down around 5%. We were, I think, roughly about the same in the NASDAQ. The selling was just pretty relentless all day. Although this looks pretty orderly as it goes. This kind of looks like it's fallen off a cliff. This looks like normal back and forth, just normal down stuff. But this was we were down 30-40 points. It was a pretty good amount of room down. But here the selling starts snowballing, and then we start hitting stops, and people just, get me out, get me out, get me out. And that's when that whole waterfall effect kind of kicks in, unfortunately. So let's take a look at this. Keep everything in perspective here. So there's 5 days. So we've been from 28.16 to 26.51. So you can see how much ground we've covered in a very, very, very short period of time. We'll go out 2 weeks or 10-day chart, and you can see that 28.74, and we were actually at the all-time high here. If you go back, there's 2 weeks right there. So 29.40, the all-time high, and that turned out to be a double top. As we had hit that twice very close together, and then we just completely rolled over. But to also, get a better context of this, take a look at this. So this, this selling that we had here in February, March, April, that kind of stuff, that at the time, when we were going through this day by day, it was very painful. I feel like this is even worse, because if you notice these candles, notice over here we have one big down day, and there's another one with an immediate bounce straight up. Here we've had big down day, down day, down day, down day. This has just been, there's been no bounce at all. This has just been selling, right? I guess you could argue that one little green candle right there kind of gave us a head fake, but that was for 1 day, and then we immediately sold off. The other thing too, if you remember from my previous nightly videos, I was thinking, we were all kind of thinking that this was going to be a, just kind of the routine come back, bounce. Come back here, bounce, bounce, bounce. Buy the dip and bounce, and we just have completely fallen apart. The other thing too to notice here is that this is the opening print of the year. Right there. There's 2000. There's the 2018 January 1, 2017 end of year. So we're now below. We're in the red for the year, right? And quickly I'll flip over here to the NASDAQ. Same thing. There's your. Where is it? Well, I guess we're not below the opening print on the NASDAQ. We are on the S&P. This has been about a 1,000-point move down in the NASDAQ. Pretty brutal. Again, we've broken the 200-day here. Not good. I think there are a lot of things you will hear everybody give their reason. There's housing seems to be slowing a little bit. I think that's a little jaded data based on the 2 hurricanes skews the data because construction can't start and all that kind of stuff on the East Coast. But doesn't really matter what I think, but that's, take that with a grain of salt. Fed, raising interest rates. I don't think they're going to be raising them now. With this correction we're having in the market, it's going to definitely affect their thinking of things maybe slowing down a little bit and so forth. China, that news has been on the table. As a matter of fact, that news is what started all this. And so I don't think that can be totally, attributed to this. Earnings, I keep hearing analysts are worried about what might happen with earnings. We haven't even gotten into the bulk of the earnings season yet. I don't think that argument makes a lot of sense. Maybe it's true, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. What I think is happening is that as we were going, there's two things under the surface. As we're going into earnings season, companies are not allowed to buy back stock and do repurchase and all that kind of stuff. So I think a lot, and this goes back years and years and years and years, stocks are buying back billions of dollars of stock, and that's helping to push the market higher and higher and higher. They stopped buying like right here. I think that's got a lot to do with it. The October effect, I've heard that, that from a money manager standpoint, taking some profit off the table in case earnings aren't great this quarter, whatever. Yes, that could make some sense, and let's sell into this quarter, blah blah blah. That could make sense to me as well. But the bottom line, I can't put my finger on one single reason. But what do we do from here? Well, unfortunately, I think we're going down to these levels. And we may go down there very quickly because we're getting no bounce. If we get a bounce, be very careful. Don't think, okay, it's, the clouds have parted and we're back off to the races, because that won't be the case. There's been too much damage done here. I think any bounce here will be sold, and I think we ultimately probably go back down here to these levels. Maybe this, maybe lower. So just don't step in front of a head fake and think that you're going to come in and buy some bargains. There will be some bounces, and the bounces can be very sharp, as we have seen here, just based on short covering and that type of thing. These bounces are, very, very sharp. But again, just be very careful. I am very, very flat right now. Not 100%, but I'm very flat, and what I'm not flat on, like long stock, I bought puts under them to hedge, to block off any downside, that kind of thing. So kind of do the same. Evaluate everything, every position, and see where it can go. Definitely don't want to step in here and start buying anything, because I think there's probably more downside. We have Amazon tomorrow night. That can be a catalyst. We had Microsoft tonight. Good earnings. The stock's up. Don't know if it's going to be enough to make any difference. With the NASDAQ tomorrow, we've got Amazon, Google tomorrow. We really need to, watch and see what happens there. But again, I don't know even if they're great, if it's going to be enough to make a big difference. So the bottom line, for whatever reason, is causing this sell-off, and it's a cumulative of a bunch of different stuff, I suspect. It's not over yet, so be very careful here. And I say cash is king in a market like this until we see what's going on, and we, again, we'll probably know in the next couple of weeks as we get through more of the earnings season. So I hope this makes sense. Hope this helps. Hope you guys are pretty nimble and on your position and sizing, and hope you dodged the bulk of this pain. And I don't think it's over yet. So I wish I had some better news, but the good news is when it does turn, we will get some good bargains, and hopefully we catch another run like this, and that's when we want to make money, is when this does turn up and go the other way. So with that, I will sign off. I appreciate the time, and trade carefully, and I'll see you guys at the next update.